Hi everybody, it's Haley, your queen. Actually, just kidding, Delilah's the real queen here, we should all know this. But I'm just going to apologize straight up for 3 things. 1 is sorry that it's been like 3 weeks. 2 is sorry about this situation. I just woke up from an hour-long nap and I don't feel like putting makeup on right now. And 3 is my neighbors are upstairs making a racket. I'm sorry if you hear their footsteps. They like to sound like elephants. And we're gonna start off by talking about Anna Henrietta. The easiest thing that I did these past 3 weeks with her was I dyed the partlet, which is the undershirt sort of thing. And all I really did was I realized after I finished the partlet that I wanted the green to be a little bit more of a blue tint. All of the other greens that I have in this costume are more blue based, so the partlet kind of stood out. So literally all I did was I took a cotton reactive dye. It's a really slight change of shade, like literally only a couple of shades more blue, but I feel like this will definitely fit into the costume better, and it's just going to kind of make everything look a little bit more cohesive. I also spent some time making the shoulder rolls. It's these things, they're for Anna Henrietta obviously. They just go here on the bodice. They are not attached to the bodice yet because I'm still working on these sleeves. Kind of. The sleeves are sewn into the bodice and it's pretty much ready to go, but the second that the actual fabric I'm using for the overskirt and the sleeve overlays comes in, I have to take them apart and redo them. But I can show you the bodice really quick and like what's all going on so you kind of have an understanding and an idea. I can show you some of my test pieces for the fabric though, so let me go grab those really quick because stupid me, I didn't really think this through all the way. This was my original design. It looks really nice, obviously, or maybe not obviously to you, but obviously to me it was way too small. The file size in general was just not right, so I ended up having to completely remake this regardless of what I ended up doing. When I started comparing this to reference images, the green is supposed to be more of a blue-based green, like I mentioned, everything else is. And this brighter green is actually supposed to be more of a gold yellow. I also went through and I got another swatch done. I adjusted the colors a little bit, because to me, this was just too vibrant, so I went and I darkened it up, which honestly was a bit of a mistake. But here's the darkened version. It's still pretty, you know, it's nice. But once again, this green it's not blue enough. In fact, here it kind of looks a little brown. And then of course, I didn't seem to learn my lesson with the whole green, light green being like a weird goldy green color. And I just made this a darker shade of green. Really hoping, I'm pretty sure that everything will be right. I actually went ahead and I used a hex code sheet because the company that I'm printing through, Spoonflower, uses hex colors to guarantee the same shade regardless of like what you're printing on, and I color matched the best that I could with what I was given, and I'm really hoping that I really got it right this time. Just so hoping, because I don't want to do, but whatever, we'll do with what we'll do what we have to. In the meantime, you know, this fabric was for the overskirt. I decided to go ahead and get started on some of the detailing for the overskirt. There is this really beautiful trim on the skirt. It's kind of like arches, a series of arches, and there are pearls, and I originally planned to go to the New York Fabric District and find some lace that I could layer and get a really similar look, but that plan kind of fell through. I ended up staying home and I made my own version. So basically what I ended up doing was I first of all figured out the width of these 2 pieces of ribbon put together, and once I figured that out, I cut out heat and bond strips that were that width, carefully ironed the ribbon on, and then drew out my design on the back of the heat and bond, and then I had to satin stitch over it. It wouldn't. I hate myself. Obviously, that is the only reason I can think of that I would have done this to myself. You know, well, okay, well, there's a few different reasons. One of which is that I'm a stickler for accuracy, and if I'm going to spend this much time and money on a costume, I want to do it right. But also, come on, Haley, what's wrong with you? So as you can see though, like, Anna Henrietta has gotten me a little worked up, and because she is stressing me out so much, and I have this opportunity, I'm taking the time to work on other projects that aren't as stressful and are a lot more fun, and in fact some things that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I was invited to join a really big League of Legends Summoner Rifts jungle crawlers group, so like all the drakes, the buffs, the like the scuttle crab, and I am doing the greater merc wolf. I am so excited. I am really looking forward to this. My friend Kia and I put together, like, we brainstormed, I kind of drew out a general idea and was like, hey, do you have any ideas to like change this? And she was like, give me a second, and did this amazing drawing, which is what I've been posting everywhere. It's so cool. It's a lot of fun. I'm really excited about this. And one of the big things that I made sure to include in my drawing was a wolf headdress. And so, of course, the first thing that I started was the wolf headdress. This thing is wicked. I'm still trying to figure out the exact angle I want it to sit at. I'm thinking about actually sizing this down some and maybe like getting rid of this version. I want to take it in by maybe an inch and a half and widen it a little bit. In the end, this whole thing is going to be covered in fur. I've got some white faux fur, I've got some gray faux fur that I'll be staining to make purple and black, and I'll be using the airbrush. I am a little bit nervous. I've never trimmed fur down. This fur has a really long nap. It's about 2 inches long. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how everything goes. Of course, I'll be doing some tests before I actually put it all on here, but still. Aside from this piece, I was able to also very quickly get the base of the skirt and the tail put together. And then I'm also pretty excited to kind of get back into armor making. Fortunately, this project isn't too armor heavy. There's only a couple pieces, and in fact, most of them are done now. I went over to my friend Kia's house last night, the one that helped me come up with this design, and we spent the entire afternoon working on cosplay. It was a lot of fun. We kept each other on track, and I was able to actually knock out the bracer and the hip armor. This is the bracer. It's really a simple piece. As you guys can tell, there is a nice funky texture on it. I decided that I wanted this to look like it was made from tree bark. So it's gonna go right here, and this little flat part that you see in here was actually cut out of the gauntlet after I drew the lines in, and then I made little inserts that are just like a millimeter or two further down. I'm going to be painting these like they're glowing runes. Once again, I didn't really want to include like actual LEDs, so I'm just going to do like a sort of painted effect like I did for my Hunter Tier 10. And of course, I have a similar thing going on for the hip armor. This texturing really took a long time. I hated the process, but it's definitely worth it. I also have to do the whole thing again for the pauldron. The pauldron on the one shoulder in the drawing, it looks just like a little simple round thing, but I was like talking to some League friends and I was like, man, I wish that I had something to represent like the smaller wolves in the Merc Wolf camp. And they were like, Haley, make the pauldron a wolf. There's going to be so many like little details. Well, I was obsessed with wolves as a kid. I was one of those kids. And part of the reason why was like, my last name, it's a late Roman name and it stems from the word meaning wolf, and it's always kind of like been in my head. I was really into genealogy in like 3rd grade, and I found out that names mean things, and so I got really into finding out what my name meant and where my family comes from. It was pretty cool. And so ever since then, I was just really into wolves. I was like, I am a wolf, I'm connected to wolves. There was a time where I convinced one of my friends that I was a werewolf and that I murdered my parents and drank their blood. I don't know why I did that, but I did, and now I get to live out my stupid middle school wolf fantasies by running around at a convention filled with nerds, kinda half naked with a wolf headdress on, and I'm gonna do like tribal paint and shit. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to finishing this project and seeing what everybody else in the group is doing. As you guys can probably tell, I'm not worried about Kazgulh yet, because we are still a few months out and I've really got good progress. Aside from the wolf costume, I only have one other project that I currently have planned for Kazgulh, which is Sally Whitemane, and she will be a lot of fun to make. I'm really looking forward to her. I've been wanting to do her for, honestly, since I first encountered her in Scarlet Monastery. And then of course, with her coming to Heroes of the Storm, she has gained a lot more popularity and people are doing her, so there are wonderful patterns and tutorials, so that'll be super duper easy and like quick to go through. I hope you guys are on track for Kazgulh like I am. If not, you might want to get started depending on like what your workload's going to be. And even if you feel like it might not be a whole lot of work, it's always good to get started early. Anyway, I hope that you guys will stick around. Maybe I will see you next weekend when I upload another vlog. Maybe I'll upload on Monday, who fucking knows at this point. And if I don't see you next week, maybe I'll see you, I don't know, maybe at Kazgulh, which is literally all I'm going to be talking about for the next like 3 or 4 months. Are you excited? I'm excited. Let's do this shit. It's gonna be great.